Bet, the daily gambling game show that takes betting seriously, but not much else. Get our favorite plays on the totals, sides, props, exotics, and futures to jump on now.
So let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Sappico som chiede con so bella con so felino. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben.
Hey there. Welcome to Wanna Bet. We are fired up that you guys tuned in as always. We are fired up to try to make you more money because that's what this whole show was created for. That's what this is all about. And it is a weird week here, as obviously there's not a whole lot of live inventory, at least in a traditional American gambling standpoint, with this being the slowest sports week on the calendar. That hasn't stopped Ben and I from making bets, leaning into futures. And as always, we've got you covered across the board here. So if you're new to the show, first, second, third down, three of our favorite plays that we've made recently. Today, we're going to look at NFL wide receiver props, ranked 1 through 3. Third down is the money down in the NFL, and it's our favorite bet here. Fourth and long, we take a look at a topic that will get you paid either long-term or a long shot bet that will pay you. We are going to look at an MLB future that caught both Ben and my attention. And overtime, normally it's PLL Wednesdays here, where we get you an early jump on the Premier Lacrosse League lines. We're not going to have a show the rest of the week. Beltway Ben is traveling to Wisconsin for a wedding. So we wanted to make sure we gave you our favorite PLL plays today while we're still doing the live stream. There are two games that I am on already, and I know Ben has some thoughts there as well. Normally, this is when we would show you what we did last night. Look, I leaned James Wood on the home run derby. Beltway Ben leaned O'Neal Cruz. Obviously, it was Big Dumpers night, Beltway Ben.
Well, yeah, I leaned Matt Olson, but
I'm sorry, Matt Olson. O'Neal Cruz was Eric Casillas. My bad.
Right. Yeah, Matt Olson got hot, and I'm like, here we go. He's going to go on a run. I just wanted him to get into the second round. That went south. O'Neal Cruz, after the first round, I thought for sure was going to do it. And at no point, I've never watched Cal Riley hit BP. A lot of those guys I've seen hit BP. When I was in Pittsburgh, I saw O'Neal Cruz, and I was like, he's built for this. He's going to hit the longest home run, which he did. It was plus money. But Cal Riley just – with his dad throwing, it's pretty rare to see somebody win like that. And his brother catching, it's pretty awesome.
And doing the Adley Rutschman switch hit thing, I mean, pretty special and not that far from where he grew up, right, in Carolina. So, yeah, a huge night for him. But, yeah, I'm with you. I thought the longer, leaner, sinewy guys, were the ones who would be able to have the endurance and that natural uppercut swing. And it's hard to go first. I mean, James Wood, his first home run derby that young, having to go first, did him no favors. He obviously got into the swing of things, but it was a little too late. But again, if you've been playing along with us, we're up 35 units since starting this show May 21st. We document it every day. We will continue to document it. Our goal is to make money for you. With that in mind, Beltway Ben, first down, what is your first down wide receiver play?
Yeah, here I'm going to go with Devontae Smith. 1,000+ receiving yards this season at plus 175. He's over this in 2 of the last 3 years, under by 167 yards last season, and he only played 13 games. Defenses are going to go out to stop Philly's run this year because we saw how good they were and we saw what Jalen Hurts can do. And again, we've seen that relationship with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. It just doesn't feel like it's right. And they've spoke in public that it's not as good as it once was, and they do have some issues that they have to deal with. We don't hear that with Smith. It feels like Devontae Smith just sits impatient on the sideline and is always calm talking to Hurts. There's never the breakout when he's not getting the ball, but he is that wide receiver one, and they extended him to be like that even with A.J. Brown getting an extension as well. Hurts has always looked comfortable throwing the ball his way. So with the value plus 175 for Devontae Smith for 1,000+ receiving yards this year, health is the only thing that scares me here. And like I said, last year, 13 games, he still almost did it. If he plays 15, he gets there this year. So I like Devontae Smith, 1,000+ receiving yards.
If you watched the show yesterday, we did quarterback props. I love Patrick Mahomes to go over 4,000 yards because why wouldn't you? And he's getting his number one wide receiver back, Beltway Ben, and that's what I'm looking at here. And I'm taking this would qualify for fourth and long because it is a long shot. But you're giving me 50-1 for a Patrick Mahomes wide receiver to lead the league in receiving yards. Tyreek Hill used to play there, right? Like, it's not like this offense hasn't featured a true number one wide receiver before. And I know the Cheetah, in terms of being a burner, is a little different. But this offense sagged last year because Rice wasn't there. And Kelsey's not getting any younger. And Worthy got more integrated as things went along. And you're going to have to respect this passing game across the board, especially I think the offensive line's going to be better. And if the number one running back doesn't miss half the season, again, they're going to be balanced. And I think it's just going to create winning opportunities for Andy Reid to scheme things up for this kid. He was on a really special trajectory before he got hurt. And with this play caller and this offensive scheme and that quarterback, and you're giving me 50-1, I'm taking it. I'm on it. I've sprinkled on it. We'll see if that moves again between now and the next 6 weeks, and maybe I get on it again. But I've seen what a true number one wide receiver could do in that offense, and I like this play. Second down, Beltway, Ben.
Yeah, second down here, we will go to T. Higgins over 7.5 receiving touchdowns at -110. And he's the big body wide receiver that Joey B loves throwing the ball to and trusts throwing it to him, right? If he goes anywhere else, he's a bona fide number one wide receiver, and we're talking about him way more than we are. And
yeah,
of course, you play with Jamar Chase, maybe the best wide receiver in the NFL. Obviously, you're going to be the number two guy, but Burrow still likes throwing the ball to him in the red zone because he knows he can go up and get it. This play, health. That is the main thing that's held T. Higgins back over the past few years. But at the same time, T. Higgins didn't have that extension when he was sitting out of some of these games. He wasn't pushed to play because he didn't want to get hurt and ruin some value that he probably, quite honestly, did not think Cincinnati was going to give him that money.
No.
He thought it would be elsewhere. And you don't want to be getting hurt even more in a place like Cincinnati where they don't pay many guys. So he went over for the first time in 5 seasons last year, and he played just 12 games. This defense is still awful. Nothing has changed. They're going to tell you that it has. They still won't pay Stewart or give him the exact guarantees that he wants. I'm not buying that defense. The Bengals are going to have to get right back to throwing the football, like you're saying, and scoring touchdowns quickly because, I mean, other teams are going to run it up on them. Joe Burrow is going to have a career year again, in my opinion, and that's going to be with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase eating all season. So I like T. Higgins over 7.5 receiving touchdowns.
Zach Taylor lost his play caller and top offensive lieutenant, Brian Callahan, a couple years ago to go run the Tennessee Titans. Zach Taylor's job security is a hot topic in Cincinnati. And now you've got Mike Brown, who doesn't like to spend money, to your point, with a $50 million quarterback and a $40 million wide receiver and a $30 million wide receiver. I think Zach Taylor knows that if he wants to keep his job, these guys better earn their money. I'm right there with you, Beltway, Ben. Second down for me, look, we've talked about the Lions, and we expect regression because of brain drain, right? They lost their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, who's maybe a genius. They lost their center. But they're building a lot of regression in Amon-Ra St. Brown's touchdown totals, and it's just too much for me. This guy had 12 last year. He had 10 the year before that. It's at 8.5. He and Jared Goff still have chemistry. They have an innate understanding that when the field constricts, this guy with that low leverage and unique body type can find crevices and nooks and crannies in that defense. You might say little guys don't show up in tight spaces sometimes. This guy does. He's going to still get a tremendous target share. I don't think anything's going away from Jared Goff's trust and Amon-Ra St. Brown on money down, third down, and in the red zone. Which every down in the red zone is a money down. I think they're probably going to have to chase games a little more than they're accustomed to. I don't think they're going to be blowing everybody out at halftime. And I don't think they're going to be able to rest some people like they have in the past. Because, again, I don't even think they're winning that division. So I think they're going to be fighting for playoff positioning all the way through. This is just too much regression for me. We've seen this guy have weekends where he gets 2 and 3 touchdown receptions. We know, again, where Jared Goff likes to put the ball in money situations. So while I'm fading the Lions as a team, I saw value here. All right, third down, Beltway, Ben.
Yeah, third down here, we will go to Seattle, where I'm going to go with Jackson Smith and Jigba, 1,000+ receiving yards, a +100. I talked to you about this a little bit off air yesterday. He had 638 yards his rookie season. Then all of a sudden last year he goes for 1,130. And that's in year 2. I get it. Lockett and Metcalf aren't there. Everybody, you can argue both ways, quite honestly. But he did have a 24.1% target share last season. Darnold comes in after a career year. He's probably confident. And I know he kind of fell off towards the end of the season, but he's going to be throwing the football JSN's way a ton. And Kupp's coming in for them, and it's an addition. I get it. Kupp is probably cooked. We've definitely seen the best of Cooper Kupp. DBs will still send him some attention. Like, it's not like they're just going to leave him and look away from him. I do think JSN is a true number 1 wide receiver in this league. We saw it in Ohio State when he was there with a ton of top guys and led the team in receiving before getting hurt his last year. And Clint Kubiak passing the football a good amount. We know what he will draw up there. So he's going to learn from Kupp. He's already talked about how much he's helped him early on in his career, and it's year 3. If he stays healthy, which he has been in the NFL, I think JSN gets 1,000 plus pretty handily.
A lot of the reception total markets haven't totally populated. This cat's catching 100 balls. Like so just do the math. Like, you don't think he's going to average 9-10 yards a catch? Like, he's going to, if he's remotely healthy, I'm totally with you. He's going to go over that. You mentioned Cooper Kupp, and my third down sort of as a corollary to that. So Cooper Kupp leaves the Rams. Sean McVay usually knows when to get rid of guys, right? When to move on from guys. And Sean McVay says, bye, Cooper Kupp. Hello, Davante Adams. I had a chance to pick the brain of some people in that organization I trust. And they think Davante Adams has 1,500-yard potential in their offense. He is motivated. He got, stuck in the abyss with the Raiders. He turned into a bit of a vagabond. Obviously, that thing with the Jets didn't work, but this is people keep hiring Sean McVay assistants because they want to get as close to Sean McVay as possible. Sean McVay is the real thing. Matt Stafford is locked in. Yes, they have Puka Nacua, but we've seen Nacua and Cooper Kupp last year. You would have told me they're both going to go over 1,500 yards. I would have bought it. I think Puka Nacua has 2,000-yard potential, but I will be playing this 1,200 yards and above. If I can get it at 1,500, I'll probably take a flyer on that. I'm just telling you, I'm making a ladder for Davante Adams because too many people I trust have said, dude, this guy's on a mission. Dude, this guy and Stafford are already there. Like, again, dude, our offense, 1,500 yards, not out of the question for this guy. He's been a monster. We know the catch radius. He thinks the game so well. And this is the first time in forever that he's playing with, he's back to playing with a top 10 quarterback. Aaron Rodgers was in the top 10 quarterback last year. And we know the slop he dealt with in Vegas. It's a real offense. It's a robust offense. And again, I trust what I'm being told. So I forgot my props. Yeah, I don't have any meatballs or choppers or GGs with me, but that's a smart move. That's a smart move. And that might even be a GG play. It might even be time to get the Husky involved in this one. Again, people get hurt. It's football. I can't tell you that at this stage of his career, he's playing 15 or 16 games, but I am telling you, he's going to be featured in this offense. And I think he's going to have a tremendous resurgence. Real quick, a couple things I wanted to give out before we get to fourth down. Beltway Ben knows I'm destroying soccer markets right now. Couple of plays that I've made that I would urge you to get into if it floats your boat. Both teams to score in the Sweden-England match this week. In the women's Euros, you could parlay that with over 2.5 goals and get plus 126. Today's Champions League qualifier, I like Malmo from Sweden to cover a goal and a half. You can get that around minus 150. Look around. So I wanted to put those out there because I'm on them and I feel pretty good about them. And if you want all of our bets in real time as we make them, you can go to right here where you're watching this on Twitter, go to my bio. You can click on that link tree. It'll tell you how to get in the super Discord where we're putting bets up every day. Again, as we make them, we're putting them in real time in the Discord. Beltway Ben, anything to add before we get to fourth and long?
No. Been tailing a lot of your soccer stuff, and we'll be continuing to do it because you're making a lot of money for me that way.
That's what we try to do here, Beltway Ben. That's why we do this. Fourth and long. Yesterday, we gave you a couple of baseball props that we've played. I love the Rangers at plus 360 to make the playoffs. Beltway Ben was sort of on that as well in his own way, fading the Red Sox and their 10-game streak because we don't think it's sustainable, and we think that their owners would probably try to sell if they could. And maybe in the next 2 weeks they'll be able to. I've been big on the Brewers as well. If you've been watching this show, I've been playing the Brewers quite a bit the last 2 or 3 weeks, backing them. I like them to win the NL Central at plus 240. I think the Cubs are a little vulnerable. I think the loss of Justin Steele might catch up to them. I think Imanaga, that high fly ball rate as we get deeper into the summer, might be a problem for them. And I'm not totally sold on their bullpen. Like Beltway Ben, you could also play these guys to get the 90 wins, and I think they're getting there, certainly if they're winning that division, and they're right there with the Cubs. And the Cubs are on a 100-win pace. Brandon Woodruff is back, and Mizorowski is a real thing, and Freddie Peralta's having an incredible season, and they're going to be able to take some arms that were helping them bridge the gap with some of these openers and push them back into the bullpen to make that deeper. Andrew Vaughn, look, sometimes a change of scenery goes a long way. Andrew Vaughn looks like a viable left-handed bat for them, and I do believe they'll buy at the deadline. I do believe they're going to add a bat of some significance and maybe a bullpen arm as well, but they're tremendous developing pitching. They have a loaded minor league system. Churio's better in the second half than the first half. They've got a lot of position flexibility, a lot of guys who can play a lot of premium positions, second and third, and dabble in the outfield. That lets you get people off their feet. Oh, yeah. And even if they're not swinging the bat, Beltway Ben, they run all over you. They steal all over you. They pressure your catcher, and they pressure your pitcher. They bring a playoff-like intensity to a lot of regular season games, and they're dominant at home. I'm bullish on the Brewers. I don't know what's going to happen in October because they always, they're usually built for the marathon and not the sprint. But I think they can surpass the Cubs, and I think they're a team to watch in the second half.
Yeah, to the win total, I'm just staying away. But to win the NL Central, I will be punting with Adam Gase. I'm on the Cubs in that parlay we have, and the Tigers have basically locked that division up, and the Astros should win there. So it's basically I need the Cubs to win the NL Central to get plus money. I just buy the Cubs buying much more than the Brewers will, right? The Cubs are telling all these MLB insiders they're going to be buying, and they're making it known around the MLB they are going to do what they have to. They have the easiest schedule in the second half of the MLB season. The Brewers have the 10th hardest, and Brewers are playing great baseball right now. 20-7 in their last 27 games. They're still behind the Cubs. That run they made against a lot of kind of iffy teams, they're still behind. And we talked about it. Matt Arnold in Milwaukee, I don't know that I can trust him to buy big. He's going to add a few slight pieces, but we've seen that in Baltimore, and I don't know that that will quite give them a jolt to get ahead of the Cubs, who Kyle Tucker in the offseason for Cam Smith. Go look at what Cam Smith did in Houston. Chicago had no issues moving on from that because you had Kyle Tucker, one of the best bats in the game. Isak Paredes, when they were probably out of it last year, they traded Morel. It looks like they knew well when to get rid of Christopher Morel because he has not been anything that Tampa Bay hoped with him. So I just buy that Hoyer and Hawkins in Chicago will be buying a little bit more and going a little bit more aggressive to get a top guy, because when you look at the Cubs, pitching is concerning, right? Presley, he hasn't really been that great in the bullpen, and Flexen's been good. Palencia has been awesome.
He has been.
In relief. But starting line.
But is he going to be throwing 103 miles an hour still 6 weeks from now?
Well, yeah, you can ask that, but Abner Uribe, you have questions with him as well. I mean, you have the same questions in that side. And we've seen McGill, is McGill really going to be as good as he has been? I just don't fully know. It's questions both sides, but still, to me, I think that one front office is a little bit more aggressive in a big way versus the Brewers probably just kind of getting around the corner and trying to do it. I think they'll get in the playoffs. The Brewers are definitely a good team, and I do trust that pitching staff a little bit more, but I'm confident that the Cubs will buy, and I think they win this division.
Yeah, it's an interesting division. I think the Cardinals will fade. Obviously, the Pirates are going to be selling again. Cincinnati, I think will hang on the periphery of the wild card. But I think this Brewers Cub, in a year where a lot of these division races might not even be anything to really see here, right? AL West is over. AL Central is over. NL West, I mean, that's going to be the Dodgers, right? It's probably going to be the Dodgers by margin. Like that NL Central race, I think could be one to watch. All right, overtime. Beltway Ben, I'm having a lot of fun watching the PLL, capping the PLL. It's a great product. I love what Paul Rabel and his staff have done, moving it around geographically, embracing some interesting things. They were playing out on a ship the other day. Like they've got a great deal that they just extended with ESPN now. So there's going to be a continued influx of money. The product's going to continue to get national exposure. And look, it's a great sport to bet. Like most sports, Ben leans into a lot of player props. I'm more on teams, sides and totals, and that's why we like doing the show, because we give you the full panorama. So again, normally we do this on Wednesdays, but this is our last show of the week. So get in on some of these lines now. They do move. First game of the week, Beltway Ben. New York Atlas. Are they the best team in this league right now? They might be. They might be. California Redwoods, they are the worst team in this league right now, right? Would you agree with me there, Beltway Ben?
Absolutely. And I made the mistake of playing them last week. Never again. Never again.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about never again, but probably not at least for a couple of weeks. Look, California the first 2 weeks looked like they were something. They've now lost 4 straight since then. They're only scoring 10 goals per game, which is a low total, and they're not nearly good enough defensively to offset that. We've got an Atlas team. It's really been the inverse of California. Slow start, couple of losses against teams I think they would beat right now if they played them somewhere neutral site. But the last 3 weeks, they've won by 8, they've won by 2, they've won by 6. That means they're covering in a league where not many people are covering, right? Dogs are 17-7 against the spread. The last 3 weeks, Beltway Ben, the Atlas allowing just 28 total goals. We know they've got a great defensive mindset. We know they have a quality goalkeeper. And in a season where, again, it's been the year of the dog against the spread, I'm willing to lay the 1.5 here with the Atlas and look for them to cover again against a California team that doesn't seem to have a whole lot of morale right now. If this gets one-sided early, Beltway Ben, I think this could get really lopsided. So I'm willing to lay the 1.5 at -118.
Yeah, I'm going to play it just on the money line. It says -188 there, but if you go to FanDuel, that's DraftKings odds. FanDuel has it at -170, so that's the number that I will be playing. The Atlas on the money line, of course. Chase Erlin, you look at the goalie matchup for California, 48.6% save rate, has been awful, and this team just hasn't been able to find wins. Meanwhile, on the other side, Liam Enterman, 57.5% save rate, one of the best goalies in this league. And the Atlas, they're coming off of domination against the Cannons, which I didn't see coming, and they have shown they can win multiple ways, right? 17-11 versus Boston, 10-8 in their matchup right before the All-Star break. They can do this thing many different ways, and it starts with the goalie, who, like I said, Enterman, who's one of the best goalies in the league. So I'm going to play it safe here. Stay away from the 1.5. I am, but I will play them on the money line at -170.
Yeah, and again, chart these numbers through the week, because when the team totals populate a little bit more, I might play California like under 10 goals. Like, I don't think they're getting double-digit goals here. Depending on how the numbers lie, I might even go under 9. Speaking of unders, this one is not a formal play for me, but it is a definite lean. Second matchup of the weekend, Utah against Carolina. I like the under in this matchup, Beltway Ben. I lean to the under 24.5 here. If you look at Utah and the total goals scored in their games this season, 27-18, 23-23, 17-15. Carolina, also more of a defensive team than an offensive juggernaut. Carolina total goals scored, 22, 26, 26, 21, 18. Utah's a quality side, but they don't cover. They don't win by 2+ goals. It's just not really in their makeup. They're 0-6 against the spread, 2-4 straight up. The betting markets have still favored them as a team that people think, or at least the gambling houses think, could win the whole damn thing. And their odds to win the PLL in the futures market have been fairly strong. But I look at this. Carolina's keeper's playing out of his mind. Carolina found their footing a little bit now. I think they want to slow this game down. Again, Utah's not really putting people away. So I lean to the under 24.5.
Yeah, I took the under 21.5. I didn't see a 24.5 when I looked, but I did take the under 21.5. in this one. Riordan is, like you said, you talked about him. I think he's the best goalie in this league, and save percentage says that. Dobson, on the other hand, is not far behind him. So you have two very, very good goalies. The Chaos are under this in 3 of their 6 games this season. The Archers are in last place, but it hasn't been because of their defense, right? Their defense has been solid, allowing 11 goals per game. And a lot of that comes from last week, right? They allowed 16 goals against Philadelphia. So you take that away, it's a lot less. I do like the under 21.5 here.
Third game of the week. I guess that moved already. I mean, I get, you know what I mean? I grabbed that yesterday. Wow. Third game of the weekend, kind of like last week. The third game of the weekend didn't do a whole lot for me, and I'm staying away from this one. Boston and Denver. We both thought Boston would bounce back last week coming out of the All-Star break. They did not. Boston's lost 3 or 4 after a fast start, and there were people 2-3 weeks into the season who thought maybe they were the best team in the league. Denver does not do the job when they're a favorite. They're 1-2 against the spread as a favorite. I couldn't really get anywhere on this one, Ben. I don't have a great feel for either of these teams. I don't have a play here. Do you?
Slight one. It's not an official play like the other two, but it is a lean. It's going to be with the Outlaws on the money line. I mean, I've talked about Magnini a ton, and he's minus 300 to win Rookie of the Year all of a sudden. So if you guys got that plus money playing, very, very good timing when we did it. But he took over in net June 14th, and they haven't lost since. And the Cannons talked about it. You just touched on it. I was bought in. I was buying them, and all of a sudden, they've been awful. They have not played well. The Outlaws are moving in the right direction. All of a sudden, they're number 1 in standing. So I do like the Outlaws on the money line, but it's not an official play, just a lean.
And the final game of the weekend, and this is a play for me. And again, I had to get out of the house today. We're getting a new gas line installed, and it's bedlam there with the dogs and BG&E drilling up my front lawn. I didn't bring my props, including my lacrosse helmet. But I like my Water Dogs to take care of business against the Whip Snakes here in the final game of the weekend. And again, I told you, it's the year of the dog, 17-7 against the spread. But I am taking the Water Dogs to lay the 1.5. Give me the plus 118. Maryland had 3 weeks to prepare for their game last week, and they came out flat, and they came out off kilter, and they got embarrassed a little bit. And maybe that brings something out on them, but I think the Water Dogs have recalibrated. I told you guys 2 weeks ago at the All-Star break, I got back on them to win this whole thing. They've got the best offensive player in the league in Sowers. They figured some things out defensively. I think they got humbled by the Atlas 3 weeks ago in a game they were heavy favorites in, and they've played much better lacrosse since then. They beat the Whip Snakes 16-12 in week 1. I know that's a while back. They're 4-2 against the spread, are the Water Dogs, in a league where not a lot of teams can say that. So I'm going to continue to ride them here, Beltway Ben. And again, I'm laying the 1.5 plus 118.
Yeah, official play for me. I'm going with just the money line, the Water Dogs, minus 154. I mean, you made all the points about them. And being from Maryland, I am a Whip Snakes fan, but you just got to be honest when you look at these two teams. One's a lot better than the other. And you talked about the loss to the Atlas. Anybody who, if you're not, very familiar with the PLL, look in all sports. There's a lot of very good teams that have a bad loss and all of a sudden turns their season around. And that feels like what's going on with the Water Dogs. So I do like them on the money line at minus 154 as an official play.
Are you going to be able to watch these games in Wisconsin?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can ESPN stream app. The big
No. I mean, I know they're available, but I didn't know how busy your schedule was. You know what I mean? Like you got the wedding. I know you're even at the risk of your girlfriend's ire at times, you will have the phone going.
We will have
maybe you
MLB
have
and
the phone
PLL.
going.
We probably shouldn't, but you know how.
Like at the wedding reception or in church, will you have the phone going in church?
I haven't been to church in a while, but if I was there, yes, I would have had the phone.
So there is no, so like the ceremony, there's nothing like it. There's no ceremony in a church.
Not that I do not believe. I'm in it, so I cannot sit up.
Oh, that would be tricky.
Phone. Yeah, that would be like a
Coors Light
at the after party.
Yeah.
At the after party, we'll be good to go.
All right. Well, again, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Check out our Discord. We will be putting bets in there as we make them the rest of the week. Again, I'm in a lot of soccer markets. Ben will be making WNBA plays on the Super Discord. Look at the link tree in our Twitter bios. We can't wait to come back on Monday with a full week of shows from here on out. We'll have our buddy Eric Casilius with us again. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you next week on Wanna Bet.